Hi, and welcome to That Girl Reads. I'm that girl, Anna. So welcome. This is the second video for volume 2 of Books of Blood. Yes, this is volume 2 of Books of Blood. In this book, there will be a total of 5 stories, and I will be giving a bookmark review for every single story. So, no time wasted. Let's jump into it. First story for volume 2 in the Books of Blood collection is going to be Dread. Dread is a story about this college student named Steve who meets this other I think he's a professor, if I'm not mistaken, but he meets this guy named Quaid, and he is fascinated with people's dread. He's fascinated with what causes dread, and he realizes what causes dread is the fear of something. And so this little tidbit here. Quaid invites Steve over to his house, and the house he lives, there's no one else around. It's just a secluded house by itself. No one else is in walking distance, hearing distance. And he invites him over to the house. And Quaid shows Steve that there's a female college student that he had locked up. And he wanted to bring the dread out in her. And so Steve asked, "What did you do to her?" And what he did was he locked her into a room. And since she's vegetarian, she's afraid to eat meat. So he goes and he takes a plate of meat and he puts it on the table for her to eat. And what happens is he locks her up. No kind of cell service, no anything, no bathroom. It's just her and that meat. So she resists for a couple of days, but eventually she eats the meat and it's putrefied, like just nasty. And then once it gets to that point, he lets her go. Because she got to the point that she just went and fell into despair. And so she decided to pretty much give up and just go into dread of eating the meat because hunger took over. And so he takes Polaroid pictures of this to try to document it. You come to find out that Steve has a fear. Also, he has a fear of the dark, being in small, tight places. Stems from something that happened to him when he was younger. And Quaid actually has a fear himself as well. He is afraid that a clown is going to murder him in his sleep. And so here we are. We have Steve and Quaid in this house. And Quaid doing these experiments. He tricks Steve and he ends up knocking him out, chloroforming him, and putting him inside of a cage where it's pitch black and it's dark and he can't move. And eventually Steve, he gets dreadful. He gets fearful. He begs for his mother. And Quaid is loving every moment of this. He loves the dread. He loves seeing people completely just give in to their fear and just kind of give up in a way. And so he lets Steve go, and Steve end up being completely out of his mind. They end up the police end up taking Steve to jail and put him into this halfway house place or something. So spoiler alert here, I will announce the ending. So while Quaid is at his house, no one else around, and he keeps having these dreams about a clown coming to kill him, Steve keeps imagining this man because he's kind of been in so much shock. He's kind of forgotten, what was the purpose of why he was there, everything. He couldn't even remember his name, but he started to remember, and he decides to grab an axe and head on to Quaid's house. And you can probably guess it. He handles business. So yes, that is Dread. There is a movie called Dread with Jackson Rathbone. I think that's how you say it. Rathbone. He was on Twilight. He was the one that just stares, always sniffing the air, being just creepy. That movie came out in 2009. Um, I didn't like the movie at all. I didn't like it at all. I hated the ending of the movie. And so when I went in and I decided to read Dread from the Books of Blood, I was afraid that it was going to be dreadful, just like the movie. I guess it, defeated the purpose. But I thought it was going to be dreadful like the movie, but it wasn't. It had a way better ending, a more satisfying, I say, revenge ending to it, because of the fact that Quaid actually ended up manifesting his fear. He ended up bringing his fear to light. He ended up bringing his fear to the forefront. So I honestly thought that was fabulous in my mind. I thought it was great. So for my rating on this, I actually gave Dread a Lydia a 4-star. I give him a 4-star, and this is for the strange and unusual. So yes, this was good. It was strange and unusual. I was afraid I might have to give it a 1, but it ended out really good. It ended out better than the movie. I didn't like the way the movie ended. The movie ended was trash. I did not like the ending of the movie. Maybe other people liked the way it ended. I personally didn't like it. I thought it was really messed up, and I didn't like it. I guess I'm a person who likes something like getting revenge, because my whole point while I was reading that was like, you cannot conduct these experiments of dread and yet you don't do it for yourself. Like, you have to at least go through it yourself before you trying to put it off on someone else. I just thought, I was like, nah, bro, you're gonna have to go through this. And so he did. So that what made me happy. I was like, ha ha. That's what you get. So I was really happy about that. So that's why I gave it the strange and unusual. Pretty much because there are no monsters. There is no supernatural, no demons, nothing weird. It's just a man fascinated with other people's dread and end up manifesting his own nightmare. So there you go. 4 stars for Dread. So our second story is called Hell's Event. And this story is about a race in London. They do this, they have a competition every so many years. And so it's like one of the biggest competition races there is. And so we have this character named Joel, who is supposed to be like the best of the best, but he's also going against other people of different countries as well. And he's racing, and what he comes to find out that he just think he's in just a, regular race trying to win the competition. But he starts to realize like some of the guys are falling back, and when they fall back, they've dying. And he can't understand why are they dying. They always look back and then they die. And he comes to find out that's because hell is literally behind them. And if they turn around, it will kill them. Yes, literal hell. Literal hell, because you come to find out that it's supposed to be a time where I guess the devil is supposed to take over Earth. And so he's been waiting. So they use a competition to find if they can win and outbeat. So in this story, there's like actual demons that are in the race as well. There's actual demons in the race and everything. So I'm not going to tell you too much of the ending on that one and things, but I will say this is a fast-paced book. It fit the tone. So it is a fast-paced book. You have to read it to find out what happens with Joel, and does he win the race or does hell take over? But this is a very fast-paced book. It is quick, just like the book is at a steady pace and it's fast and it's not long at all. It was a very enjoyable read. I enjoyed reading this book or reading the story. I thought it was really great. A good pick-me-upper, especially coming right after Dread, which is slower, but not too slow. It's not really slow. Dread took its time, but it's not really slow. And it's But this one is like really fast paced. It's just back on it, but you don't miss out on anything. And it's super fun. It's really fun to read. It's enjoyable. It keeps you wondering what the hell is going to happen. It's gruesome. So if you like gore and it's gruesome, that story is definitely for you. So I also gave this story a Lydia. Let me tell you something. Lydia is taking over. Lydia is ruling the charts. Yes, so I'll give it a Lydia of the strange and unusual. I thought that was very fascinating to have a race where the where literally hell is on your ass. You're running and hell is like following right behind you. So I thought that was absolutely great to have that little tidbit in there. So yes, that story will get a 4-star. Story we have, the third story is called Jacqueline S. A Will and Testament. And this story is about a married woman who tries to commit suicide. So trigger warning if that's triggering, or that word, me using that is triggering. So trigger warning. So it's about this woman who tried to commit suicide. Her husband ended up stopping her before she can like fully go through with it. And so when she gets out the hospital, he starts complaining to her about how she's so kind of just like down-putting, always negative, and that he's fallen in love with some other woman and he's planning on leaving her. And so she uses all her emotions to pretty much hold it in as a power, and she was trying to use it on herself to hurt herself. But because she was so furious at her husband for what he had did and not feeling like he wasn't there for her and just being a nuisance, she ends up killing her husband. Yes, with her power. So I guess you can say, what is it? Telekinesis. I think that's what you want to call it. I don't know. But yes, she uses her power, she hones it on it, and she just crushes her husband to a pulp pretty much. I mean, he's like a bunch of mush. Sorry for the graphics, but hey, you read it, you're going to find out for yourself. So what she decides to do is she leaves, she changes her name and she goes to another town, and she gets with this guy that they had met years ago through the grapevine, and she starts an affair with him. And then after a while, even though that was fun, she decides to leave and go somewhere else because she wants to hone it on her powers. She wants to use her powers and learn how to use them properly, to really control it. And that's exactly what happens. She ends up controlling her powers that people feel fearful of her. They end up being fearful of her. She does get to a point that once she has accomplished everything that she wanted to do and using her powers, she does decide to kind of go away, just simply go away. But yeah, and she goes to a city somewhere in Paris, and she just goes away. But she's waiting for this man that she was with previously to pretty much come and just spend the last moments together. So that's the gist of the story. Yeah, it was interesting at first. So the first half got me, but the last half I was like, I wasn't really feeling too much, only because I thought it was interesting, her using her powers and all this stuff, and she honing in on that. But I was like, homegirl, like, if you just wanted to be with the dude, just go back, because he was waiting for her. The guy was waiting for her. Like, he was like all ragged and had like long hair, and he was following her and all this stuff. So like I said, you want to be with her. She could have just been with him. Like, but he had to go looking for her in a whole nother country. So I was just like, girl, okay. But yeah, I didn't tell you the full ending of it, just the gist of that. You could probably speculate what probably happens to her, to both of them. But otherwise than that, yeah, it was okay. I wasn't too big of a fan of that, which is why you probably guessed it. I'm going to give it a rating of Mr. Beetlejuice himself, which is a 3-star rating, which is okay. That means that I thought you were gonna give me something, but I didn't get back what I really wanted. So definitely 3-star rating on this, Mr. Beetlejuice himself. Hey. So yep, 3 stars. For story number 4. Story number 4 is called The Skins of Our Fathers. And this story has to deal with this man is driving down the road. He come across these monsters that try to attack him, and you kind of find out that they are some kind of alien creatures. Yeah, we just get right into it. Like, that's exactly how in the story it does. It gets right into it. And you're probably wondering, like, but why are the aliens here? And you come to find out that 6 years prior, the aliens had came down and impregnated a woman. Impregnated her. All the aliens impregnated her, and she ended up having a hybrid alien baby. And so they actually have come down, or come from Earth, pretty much from the depths of Earth, to pretty much get their child. And so but the child is not living in the best conditions. The mother is great, but the guy, well, his father, you should say, is very abusive to his wife as well as to his son. And so when the aliens come and they take the son away, he gets furious, which I found really bizarre that he got so furious. He told me, oh, they took my son. I'm like, well, you were beating on him and disowning him, so it didn't seem to me like you really care. But hey, that's in the story. See, I be getting too into it. Forgive me. So the whole community pretty much comes together, the whole town comes together and try to defeat and fight off these aliens. And the wife, she runs off because she's wanting to see her son for the last time before he goes wherever he's supposed to go with his real and true daddy. The alien, that living that alien life, that extraterrestrial atmosphere, and stuff. But things happen. Does she get her son back? Who knows? But I'm gonna end it there. I'm not gonna tell you the ending for that because I actually want you to read it. Because I really enjoyed this story. I actually really enjoyed this story. I love anything dealing with like aliens or those type of monsters type things. So I really enjoyed it. The only problem I did have with the story though is that I felt like that was the only one I feel like it didn't feel complete. It didn't feel complete. You know, we had the ones where it just ended abruptly, but this one was more incomplete. I feel like this should have been a little bit longer, a couple more pages longer to kind of get a more feel of the mother and to find out what happens afterwards. We kind of just left there, like where the mother has to make this certain decision about what she's going to do for the people who kind of didn't treat her well. So they have to make a decision. So she has to make a decision what she's going to do. I personally, in my opinion, I wanted to be longer. I would love if he could Clive Barker could write a few more pages into that. And I would actually love to see that into a movie. That sounds really good. It could be a movie. I don't know. But I would love to see that into a movie. So whatever. I'm giving it a 3-star rating. So that was Beetlejuice. Not because it was okay. It was a good story. I just felt like it should have been a bit longer. I actually wanted that story to be a bit longer. That's the one I preferred to be a bit longer. So I'm giving this a Beetlejuice. The last story we have is called New Murders in the Morgue. And it is about a man. He goes and visit his friend Philip, who has been arrested for killing his girlfriend. Her body was completely like mutilated, ripped apart. Sorry, I need to give a trigger warning for this stuff. Sorry about that for explicit content. But she died horrifically, or she was murdered. And so by behest of Philip's wife, that's why Lewis, the man, the friend of Philip's, decided to show up and see if he actually did the deed. And you come to find out that he technically didn't do it, kind of did it, but not did it. He trained his orangutan, his monkey to kill. And the monkey starts kind of, I don't know, have his own type of, I don't know how to explain it properly without giving it away. But you kind of find out that he trains an animal, Philip trains an animal to kill. And so I'm not going to give anything away. I'm going to leave that to your own device. I'm going to let you read it and find out what happens with that. Because in a way, it's kind of hard to explain. Like, I could explain it, but it's kind of hard to explain. And I feel like if I explain it, might take away too much. So I'm going to just say that he trains an animal to kill his mistress. The man is married, but he trains to kill his mistress. And Lewis, his friend, finds out what the animal is and where the animal is and what to do with the animal. For this story, this wasn't my favorite. It was okay. It really was. I wasn't really feeling this story too much. It was very lackluster to me. It was okay. The first half was interesting, especially the whole animal aspect of using an animal to kill his mistress. And things, I thought that was kind of like bizarre and cool, but it fell off really hard at the end where I was just kind of like, what is this? Wait a minute. What is going on? You have to read for yourself and see, but personally, I don't know. I wasn't really feeling that. And so, that's why I'm going to give it a rating of course, Mr. Beetlejuice again. I'm telling you, these Beetlejuice is coming through. Beetlejuice again, because it was okay. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It was all right. It's one of that, like I said, the first half was awesome. The second half kind of just fell off. So Beetlejuice rating. So yeah, that is all the 5 stories for volume 2. Yes, volume 2, that is all 5 stories. I would probably have to say my favorite stories from this were definitely Hills Event, Skins of the Father, and Dread. Those were my favorites. I would probably say Hills Event is my favorite because it's fast paced. I mean, it's fast paced reading. It's very exciting to read. It's a lot, not too much going on. It's pretty much foundational, straight to the point, no extra fluff, just gets right into it. Skins of a Father is a really good story. I just wish it was longer. And Dread surprised me because I did watch the movie before I read the book, and Dread surprised me and I really enjoyed the book. So those 3 are my favorite from the 5. So 3 out of 5 is not too freaking bad, I would probably have to say. So yes, so that is volume 2 of Books of Blood. So join me for the next video for volume 3. Yes, book 3 of Books of Blood. So ta-ta for now. Ta-ta.